Welcome back. You're watching ED Insight. Family-owned and family-managed businesses have a tougher time planning for succession. Not only do they have to balance interests of various family members, but also strike a balance between entitlement and competence. After all, as the biggest stakeholders, family owners have the most to lose should their call go wrong. So how are some family-owned businesses addressing the issue of succession planning? Asha Gopalakrishnan has more.
The race for the leaders of tomorrow has begun, and India Inc. is gearing up to pass the baton to young men and women who will keep the fire burning in their respective organizations. The process is not an easy one, and these young men and women have a tall task ahead of them before they finally wear the crown. So slow and steady is the way ahead.
Went for 10.
In business, it's one of those things that you probably won't hit your peak till your sort of late 30s, 40s, I guess. I'm 23, I'm going to take every step as it comes, and, hopefully one day I can move into bigger shoes.
But moving into bigger shoes does not necessarily mean walking on the same path that the previous generations did. And that is what separates the approach of fathers from their sons and daughters. Take, for instance, the case of the Wadia family.
I don't think either of them want to be managing specifically a business. What they want to be able to do is to appoint the right managers. And then as shareholders and stakeholders, hold those managers accountable for delivering a performance which enhances their value in their business and their wealth. So I think that is the type of succession one has to have.
The fact is that increasingly the younger generation wants to stay away from running business on a day-to-day basis and more consultative and strategic role in growing business.
The way we look at it is largely a professional company. The family is here to mentor, and that's going to be the role of the family in the way forward.
But having professional managers may not necessarily be in the best interest of the company. Take for instance the case of the 106-year-old Murugappa Group, which inducted N.S. Raghavan, a non-family person, as chairman. 2 years later, P.S. Pai, another professional, took over as executive chairman. But by 2006, the family returned at the helm, with M.A. Alagappan taking over as chairman. Since then, business has been a family matter. So why does the family go over a professional?
Generally, it's true. Definitely the founders' commitment, dedication, enthusiasm, and willing to go the distance and take high risks, etc., cannot be really matched by a professional. To be fair to professionals, a lot of professionals are there who do all that stuff, but still that emotion which goes with it as a promoter, as an entrepreneur, is of a different kind.
Another example of the family returning to day-to-day management is the Lal family of the Aisha Group. Vikram Lal, the second generation inheritor of the company, introduced professional skills into the business by hiring an engineering professional, Subodh Bhargava, to take charge. But that transition was short-lived. Subodh was replaced by Vikram's son, Siddharth. So why do companies prefer the family taking charge? According to a Barclays Wealth survey on more than 2,000 companies across the world, family business models are successful because of a strong support network from family members, shared values and ethos, ability to think long-term, and quick decision-making. In contrast, professionals find themselves in a peculiar spot when it comes to decision-making.
For family members, it's easier to come and sit across a table when there is a third party involved. Of course, there's a high level of trust and confidentiality involved. It gives them an opportunity to interact, with experts, with professionals, and bring out all the issues on the table, and then resolve them unanimously.
According to a survey by Amroff on 70 executives from 29 Indian companies, including the Aditya Birla Group, Murugappa Group, Ranbaxy, Bharti Airtel and Bajaj Auto, a majority of professionals hesitate to take decisions even if given the freedom. That's not all. They also have lower levels of passion for the job. Owners tend to take a long-term outlook on businesses and work on raising the family prestige and wealth. And executives are more focused on the short-term outlook and their own professional success along with that of the company. Both are required for successful businesses.
The owner brings in some terrific advantages of having been born in a business atmosphere, grown up in that culture, and a knack for picking opportunities, assessing risks, maintaining relationship with joint venture partners. On the other hand, the professional brings some other strengths with him, such as the management techniques, models, analysis, comfort with IT, ability to manage ERP-based decision making. So we have to put these two together.
The problem with owner executives, though, is that corporate governance can be low on the radar. So what you have is issues like the board being a rubber stamp, egos running amok, family troubles causing problems, and whimsical decision making.
We all know the boards are sometimes appointed by the family, and they are obligated towards the way the family thinks and family functions. So that's where you should evaluate what should be the right strategy in governance.
The faster that family-run businesses understand that corporate governance is not just about a set of rules, but it's about building a sustainable institution. It's about putting in place the pillars of success that will enable them to run a better business.
In large corporations, these problems are magnified because there could be bitter infighting between the members of the family, as was the case with the Ambani brothers a few years ago. Since then, most large family-run businesses have put proper succession plans in place. And it's not surprising because a good succession plan can help families cover all areas of contention, from retirement and appointment to resolving conflicts.
So what should companies watch out for when they make their succession plans? And is it possible to strike the right balance between ownership and professional management? Gurucharan Das, noted author and former MD Procter & Gamble India, answers that and more after this short break. Don't go away.